Hi guys, welcome back. So there was a huge black swan news today to Luckin Coffee. China's Luckin Coffee files for Chapter 15 bankruptcy in US. Luckin Coffee is filing for bankruptcy. The stock could go to zero. Usually, a bankruptcy makes a company's stock worthless eventually. Now that looks very scary, right? So now I'll tell you what I think of the whole situation and what I did with my Luckin holding today and my plan from now. First of all, I know I have mentioned it a few times in the past, but I need to say it again. There is always chances for any kind of investment to have black swan news. And the worst thing we can do is to panic. And as you know, I don't make any decisions when I'm not calm. So I took a moment to rethink about everything and research about the situation, and I'll explain you. Now the first question we should ask ourselves is, why does Luckin file a bankruptcy at this moment? The business has been growing well. The fraud case has been settled with a settlement fee of $180 million in December with the SEC. They have turned a lot of the stores positive margin already. They have reduced the operational cost significantly. They are paying their employees, the suppliers and vendors just like normally. And they have no problem of cash right now. So why do they need to file bankruptcy at this moment? We need to ask ourselves when we see the news like this. And then I dig deeper into this Chapter 15. It's different than Chapter 11 for bankruptcy. I think in 2020, last year, a lot of people got used to the word bankruptcy as something terrible, something that means the company would end because the business is going terrible and they have really bad financial situation. So that's why I think a lot of people might have been panicking in the morning seeing the word bankruptcy. Like last year, we saw a lot of bankruptcy filing. A lot of the traditional industries, like the car rental company Hertz and the oil company Whiting Petroleum, JCPenney, etc., they need to file bankruptcy because they were too much in trouble in terms of their business as well as their financial situation. So they have to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. But Luckin Coffee filed the Chapter 15 bankruptcy. So Luckin was registered in the Cayman Islands. And by filing the Chapter 15 bankruptcy, it would help to connect the Cayman Islands government with the US government so the SEC can deal with the. So as we all know, last year in April 2020, a lot of the investors have lost a lot of money with Luckin stock. So here is when some law firms had started the class action against Luckin to help the investors get their money back. And it is also a way for these law firms to make a lot of money. And since December, we have a great recovery for Luckin's share price. And this is when the market sentiment is going well for Luckin. People are getting more bullish and more confident in it. So that's why at the same time, the class action would go stronger to chase after them. So right now, by filing the Chapter 15 bankruptcy, it can connect the Cayman Islands with the US government. So the lawsuits can be judged in the Cayman Islands instead of the US. And it would benefit Luckin. First of all, by filing this bankruptcy, it automatically protects them against all the lawsuits. It would put all the lawsuits on a pause to begin with. And then this can buy some time for Luckin to restructure for the long-term growth and let them have a rest for a period of time when they can focus more on their operation. And since they have a lot of stores turning positive margin, in this period of time, they can take the chance to gain more cash flow, while they can slowly work towards the settlement of the class action, hopefully. So after we know more about it, I think this is actually a good news. It can protect them from the lawsuit. It would buy them time to restructure, to regroup. So then the lawsuit is not always a time bomb that can drop on Luckin anytime to drain all the cash out of this company. This is a very different scenarios than the Chapter 11 that's filed from Hertz and Whiting Petroleum, for example. As they are in a sunset industry, which is an industry that's in a decline period. They have already peaked or passed the boom period in history. So then investors have no motivation to invest in this company because they can only go downwards from now on. There is no room for imagination for potential growth. But it's entirely different for Luckin. Luckin is in a rising industry, in a rising market, with a disruptive business model that can disrupt the industry. And so far, it's the only one that's the most potential to compete with the number one player, the dominant player, which is Starbucks. So there is no way I would believe that bankruptcy is the end for Luckin. Especially when I look at what they have done in the past 1 year, it's just getting more and more clear. So after April 2020, everything they have been doing into multiple steps. So step 1, they right away set up the investigation team to work with the SEC to investigate internally, to put an end into this case and clean out the company inside out. And number 2, they have evaluated multiple stores. As we know, they have a lot of stores, like 5,000 stores in the whole China. And of course, they are new, so some of them are not making profit. So that's why they have reevaluated all the stores and cut down the ones that's not successful. So this way, they have turned more than half of the stores to be positive margin. And step 3, they have changed an auditing firm in a way that it would make sure they have the cleanest book from now on. And next, they have reached a settlement with the SEC of 180 million to settle the fraud case. And now, the last step is to file the Chapter 15 while they are protected and gain the time and cash flow to deal with this class action. So once they can settle down this lawsuit, they can really finally come clean out of everything, out of all the mess, and everything they have been doing, it's only towards one goal, which is to be listed again. So now I'm seeing this more and more clear, and my mind is more and more at ease because I see all the effort they have been doing, all the steps they have been taking. And after I connect the dots, it just makes so much sense that this is what they want to do in the end. And in a way, right now, I actually feel more safe about my investment in Luckin because before, as they have reached the settlement with the SEC, there was still a bomb, a time bomb that would always have danger to set off, which was the class action. Because as long as we didn't know what is going to turn out, how hard would it hurt the company, how much would the settlement fee be like, would Luckin have enough cash to pay that off, and would the class action be such a big settlement fee that it would drive Luckin into bankruptcy in the end? So that was always a time bomb hidden inside the Luckin company. But as of today, the bomb has been exploded. So it already filed bankruptcy and it already had the protection from the lawsuit. So as of right now, I really can feel that the worst is behind already. The major concern has been pressed down. So right now for Luckin, I'm not worried that they would cook the book. I'm not worried about the class action, and I'm not worried about them filing bankruptcy anymore because the share price today had already priced in everything, all the bad news. So I think from now on, they can truly start the real recovery. And I think most of the news that would come out from them would more than likely be good news. So what had happened today, actually, after thinking about it, had put more of my mind at ease. Today, I have received a lot of questions on my channel, on the Patreon, and on the Discord. And I'm gonna give you an answer for that. I think a lot of you might have the same questions. First, are they gonna be delisted? The answer is no, because they have already been delisted. What we look forward now, it's only to be relisted again, not delisted again. And number two, is their share price going to be zero? I would say not unless the company would stop working completely, stop operating. Because as long as the company is still up and running, the business is still going well, the sales, the revenue is still growing year over year, then there will be still a lot of investors who are willing to still invest in LUCKIN. And if LUCKIN had survived 2020, which will be the worst year for them, I don't see why they would suddenly want to stop operating in 2021. So I don't think the stock would go to zero, in my opinion. And the next question is, would LUCKIN close down and reopen with a different name and get listed again with another different company? Well, if they want to do this, that would be the easiest answer for them in 2020. They could have done it last year. They could have closed down the whole business in 2020 and restart with a new name, with a new company, with a new listing, and everything would have been so much easier. They can get rid of the debt, they can get rid of the fraud, the shame, and everything. But they didn't choose this direction, even though it's the easiest answer. They chose the hard way, which is recover, trying to slowly recover from all the mess, which was a much harder way. And also, if they just close down the business like this, what happened to all the Chinese companies that are listed in US? As long as the name of LUCKIN not clear, it would still affect all the other Chinese listed companies, affect their credibility, affect how investors internationally perceive Chinese companies. Always difficult for investors to have trust on Chinese companies. And this is a much bigger issue than LUCKIN as a single company. This has elevated into the image of China and image of Chinese companies. And it would just erase everything, all the effort they have put in since last year. As I have analyzed LUCKIN's business from before, they have a unique, disruptive business model. And so far, they are the only brand that have the competitive advantage to compete with Starbucks. I can see most stores are going well, the business are going well. A lot of the young people order takeout delivery every day almost because it's affordable, it's fast, it's convenient. This is the kind of business model that can disrupt the existing industry with Starbucks being the main dominator. That's why they have been growing so fast since they start up. That's why they have more stores than Starbucks in China. And don't forget that China is the most profitable market for Starbucks. And remember in the video, I introduced you EH. I said that in the future, drone delivery is going to make a pizza delivery as cheap as 17 cents. This is going to happen in a matter of time, faster than we expect. And it's going to happen maybe first in China. When this becomes the new norms, it will boost the business of LUCKIN a lot, and it would hurt the business of Starbucks. Keep that in mind, and you would know the future of LUCKIN versus Starbucks. After the huge panic sale of today, LUCKIN's market cap is back to 1 billion. Compared to the 120 billion of Starbucks, this is why LUCKIN has a long way to grow. Technology is a speed up of evolution from the old business model to the new business model. Starbucks' business model has been formed many years ago, and it's quite difficult to change. They give out franchise of their brand and they owe it to a lot of the business owners to change any of the business models. And if Starbucks doesn't revolutionize itself, it will keep being disrupted, and they're going to slowly lose their market share more and more, especially starting in China. Until one day, they only focus mainly on the niche market, the people who are rich, not buying Starbucks for the coffee, but for a relaxed place to socialize. That's more of a niche market, while letting newcomers like Luckin to take the mass market. Now, let's look at the chart. So with such a bad news today, it was pretty scary, right? I think a lot of people panic sell today. All the retail investors who did not have the first-hand information, they would panic sell, and they won't care at what price they're selling because they felt so strong that the price is going to go back down to zero. But even so, the share price did not break the support of this gap up of $5. Why is that? I have observed this stock for many months, and I can be almost 100% sure that most of the stocks under $5 were owned by institutions, not retail investors. Only the minority were owned by the retail investors. They have really spent a few months to gather the stocks at a cheap price under $5 for a few months. So that's why $5 would act as a very strong support. And with this giant volume, even bigger volume than the previous news where they have reached the 180 million settlement with the SEC, today's volume was even a lot bigger than those days. So you can think about who sold it and who bought it here. Now we open the 5 minutes chart. You can see that the first red bar, it must have been caused by a lot of the panic sell from retail investor. I think a lot of people just set an automatic sell order at the market open. And then 5 minutes later, you right away see a big green bar of someone buying it. That was strong buying power there. There were both institutions and retail investors who were brave to buy the dips. And because of so much buying pressure, it would become the support. And the whole day of transaction, it always stay above this support. As a retail investor, when you see $5 growing to $6, you would feel it's going to grow back up, so you better hurry to buy the dip, right? But when it grew from $5 to $8 and come back down to $6, then suddenly it felt very different because you feel like it's going to keep going down again. So I think the rest of the day might be just retail investors giving out their shares to the institutions. This is the best way to shake out the speculative investors, people who have no belief in this company. That's why if you treat this as a speculative investment, it's extremely risky for you because you have no vision for this company. So that means whenever there is a wash sale, you will be shaken out and cut loss right away. Because you have no belief in the company, you don't see this company in 5 to 10 years. I'll give you an example. Look at this company. It had a really strong gap up above and then continue rising. And then follow up with the wash sell, drive it down, shake out the weak hands first, and then have a huge push up again. And one day with the black swan news and gap down to drop a lot. Look at the volume. Does it remind you of Luckin right now? But even so, it did not break the support of the previous gap up. And then it continued shaking up and down, doing more consolidation to try to shake off the weak hands, the speculative investors who just came to buy the dip for some rebounds. You see, it dropped from the highest of 45 to the lowest of 30. So that's quite hard to take as well, right? Let's say you had panic sell because you thought the earning was so bad and this company had no future. And then you look at the company today. Look at the share price today. It's almost 200 now. This company, it's Pinduoduo, ticker symbol PDD. This is how the institutions do wash sale. So if you have no belief in the company, it's very risky to treat it as a speculative investment. You will make wrong decision based on the wrong judgment and emotion of the moment. So whenever someone make a decision without being calm, it would mostly turn out to be a mistake. You see, the big fall was here. So imagine you had panic sell at that time and you were never able to get back in. Like I said, I think Luckin will always be a volatile stock. It will always continue to shake off the weekends. You will see a lot of shaking along the way before we reach our goal. And I think if you want to enjoy the run up, at the same time you have to tolerate the drop. And like I said, you have to control your position into a size that you can afford to lose so you can stay calm when things like this happen. And I think it's the same for all investments. For example, our stock YSG has been growing very well these days, but don't think there is no risk ahead of us. They are also a young team, a young company that can always make mistakes here and there. Every company had made mistake sometime in the past. NIO even had made some mistakes in the past too, and their share price had dropped 80 to 90% at some point. So if this happened again, would you buy the dip of NIO? And maybe you will think because my cost for Luckin is so low, that's why I'm able to stay calm and I don't understand any of you at loss. Well, I started to buy Luckin at $3 something, and at some point it dropped to 90 cents each share, and I was at loss of 80% with Luckin holding. But instead of panicking, I took the chance to rethink about the company and what they're doing, and later on I decided to average down. And I don't think this time is as scary as last time. Especially, I actually think it's a good news. So even if it continued dropping, I would not panic. Because anyway, I wasn't planning to sell Luckin anytime soon. So why would I care so much about what share price it is today? It's just a number in my account. It means nothing as long as I'm not selling. I'm not selling Luckin until it's back to listing in major stock exchange again. I'm not selling Luckin until it hit $50 to $100. I'm not selling Luckin until people don't think it's a fraud company. I'm not selling it until I see drones flying everywhere delivering Luckin coffee. Because I have faith in them, and I think the least thing they can afford is to disappoint the investors again. And I do believe the worst is behind, especially after today, so they are on the path of a real recovery. So that's why I don't think this is an end for Luckin Coffee. Instead, I think it's a beginning of them. But this is all just my own opinion and my own plan. So make sure you have thought this through and mind the risk and control your position into something that you can afford to lose. Everyone should invest safe and diversify your portfolio. So that was what I want to bring you today. I update you the situation, what's going on with Luckin's bankruptcy, and analyze the chart's action, and inform you my plan on Luckin from now on and how I see this company in the future. So if you have enjoyed my content today, please give me a big like and leave me a great comment. And I'll see you in the next video. That's it, guys. Hope you can find my video helpful. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and give me a big like. Thank you.